Vanakkam Kiruthiga.
Vanakkam.
Welcome to Galatta Plus. Vanakkam Kiruthiga, I'm saying because Vanakkam Chennai is your first movie.
Yeah.
One of my favorite films actually.
Thank
and
you
one of my
so
favorite
much.
Anirudh scores. இப்போ ஒரு சர்ச்சை அப்படின்னு சொல்லலாம். It's going on in my blog. Do you like being called female director as opposed to a director?
Yeah, because the female part doesn't play any role in being a director. So it really, I think when you call me that, it really doesn't mean anything to me.
Right. So you're saying I'm a director, I should just be called a director.
Yeah.
நீங்க female director சொல்லி பாயிண்டே இல்ல.
Because if the gender specifically plays a role in the role I am doing, then it makes sense. But when it comes to being a director, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Yeah, maybe even sportsmanship, okay, she's a female footballer, it makes sense because only women play as a, as a team and men play separately. So there it makes sense. Here it really doesn't.
A related question. Why are there so few female filmmakers? Though now we're getting more.
Yeah.
Like people more, there are more female filmmakers. Especially you find more female ADs. Despite, opening up of so many other things, direction only has been like starved of female filmmakers.
I think
Sorry to use the word female filmmakers, but in this context...
in this context you can, of course. I don't know, because I think we are made to think that the film industry is a very male-dominated industry from the start, and it has been for over the years.
Definitely.
So when you're trying, my chances or any other women director who are trying are that much more lesser, because we only have to go narrate to the male producers. We have to first get the male cast hero in place, so they don't immediately have this confidence, I think, in us that we'll pull it off. So this was 10 years back, like maybe around even Vanakkam Chennai, or even before that there were no female directors. So that time I could see that resistance, but I think now 10 years later things are opening up. You see, my team will have half of them will be women, like even including my costume designer or the choreographer. Even my producer is a woman.
So you're saying that there's a good chance that a hero might say no to you as opposed to a male director?
Yeah, some time back. But I think now people are coming into the realization that if a script is strong, and then if I can convince you with my narration or with whatever sensibility that I have, then you're going to break, even if you have this notion that I might not trust her, she's a female director, but if I can convince you, I might have to try just that one notch more than any other male director, I think.
But what is there not to trust?
I don't know. That's what, like I said, because it's always been male dominated.
Because you've made Vanakkam Chennai, so you have things to prove, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like you're coming blank. You made Kali, which is more of an action thriller kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So you've gone, and this is a road trip kind of thing with paper rocket. So what more is there to convince?
I think I have broken the barrier. I have broken the barrier with paper rocket. I didn't find any resistance. But with Vanakkam Chennai, when I was narrating,
the first film.
Well, the first film, yeah. So I'm talking about 10 years back and 10 years later, rather than my first film and third film. Even now, I think women directors, my advice would be, now you have so many other options, like you can put up your own show reels on YouTube, you can take part in short films and win, and then with that you can go and approach a producer or a director. You actually have it as good as any other male director trying out.
Now, you are married into a political family. Kalinar was one of the pioneers of writing a specific kind of film and a specific kind of dialogue to propagate an ideology and message to the people. Under 50s, those kinds of films. But today, given that people, they know more about the film industry, film is no longer a mystery to them. Do you think the same kind of ideology or messaging can work through movies and change and transform people?
I mean, it's just my point of view. Maybe when 1950s, film was the only medium that went to a larger audience, or it was a newspaper. But now that's not the case. You have it at your fingertips, So I think film is kind of diverging from trying to tell your ideology, is what I feel. Like film is now becoming more of an entertainment mode, whereas you have other means to tell your ideologies through social media, or you can do your own documentary, or you can do your own short film, or you can put your song out there. So I think people are seeing it as two different things. So nowadays, I feel like if you're trying to tell some ideology in the film, if it's not that entertaining, then it's not doing so well in the box office.
Right, but what is doing well at the box office right now? Because it's a big question mark, la. There's this kind
Yeah.
of nobody seems to know. I mean,
I
like
know, yeah.
it's like okay, the big monster films with big stars that's doing well.
Yeah.
Though even that, not everything is doing well. But at
Yeah.
least there's an opening. There's a curiosity. People are saying at least for 3 days I'll go to the theater. But what is the status now? I mean,
Yeah, I
I'm sure
think-
that you have some inside information thanks to Red Giant or
No,
whatever.
not exactly.
Really?
Sometimes very surprising. Some movies that I see and I don't like it does great at the box office. Some movies that I really like doesn't do so well. So I think it's just it's like some herd mentality, or even I think the release date or even the environment sometimes matters. In a film doing well, like if it's raining, the movies don't do well, or if it's like really hot, people don't want to go out, the movies don't do well. So many factors do affect a movie. But at the end of the day, I think what audience is looking for is some sort of entertainment value. That is definitely important.
Right. So when you're saying herd mentality, you're saying, oh my God, everybody's watching Vikram, so I should watch Vikram. Or everybody's watching Paper Rocket, so I should watch Paper Rocket. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that of course, like whether you like it or not, whether you like a hero or not, or a particular director's way of filmmaking or not, if everyone watched it and have an opinion, you get curious. You want to go watch. For instance, even I think the Legend movie now, like the first day everyone went for a 4 a.m. show because they were just curious. They all just wanted to go and see what it's all about. Yeah, so that also, like sometimes if if the ball gets rolling in a very positive way, it's good. The movie does well, despite it having, maybe even there might not be a storyline, there might not be much in the movie, but still sometimes it does well. We don't know why.
Yeah. No, I mean, of course, nobody knows why a movie does. Otherwise, everybody will be making hits,
Yeah,
right? So all
yeah,
the time.
exactly.
So that's kind of a thing. But you think now in this atmosphere, do you think it would be tougher to pull off a Vanakkam Chennai? Because it's a small movie with small size stars, but talented stars. I'm not talking about that. It doesn't have a scale, like a wow factor. It's a human sized story.
Yeah.
You think it would be difficult to do a Vanakkam Chennai today?
I feel it will do better now. I feel Vanakkam Chennai at that point of time, my rom-com, because it's not much explored in Tamil cinema. So that time I had a smaller audience. I think now, even with the youngsters coming to the theaters, I think they like these kind of fun movies. So I think that's a big reason why Paper Rocket also, has been received well, because it
Right.
has all these elements, and people seem to like it.
And it also has that human drama in it, which kind of is always relatable, I guess, to kind of people.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, right from the times of Balachandra or Visu or whatever it is, down the years, people have always related to, except that the type of drama changes.
Yeah.
But human drama always
Drama always works.
works. Yeah.
If you do
yeah.
it correctly, it works.
Yeah. So what was the point where you said, listen, I want to become a filmmaker. I want to tell stories through this medium. What was that point?
My answer actually takes everyone by surprise, but I started much later in life after I had my first child, and I was just sitting at home, kind of bored, not knowing what to do. I started writing scripts as a hobby because I was a copywriter before that. I was doing these ads, small ads. So I started writing, and I really started liking this whole, writing the scenes and the characters, and just getting into that world, that particular this thing. And it was a very first script that I wrote was a very funny script. I wrote one for Vijaykanth sir because somebody said my brother came and said, you know what, Vijaykanth sir is looking for a script. I said, really? You think I'll just chumma write and show it to him? He said, yeah, why not? So I just wrote like some funny, silly story, but I enjoyed the process so much. I realized, after that again, that's when after my second script was like another story, and then I wrote Vanakkam Chennai. So I just loved that whole writing process and just getting lost in that writing world.
Right, but when you like writing, you could have done short stories, novels, poetry, anything. I mean, like that. Why?
This is the big game, no? I did my short stories, and then I did my music videos, and then
came to this?
I came to film.
And then you did a short film, and then
Yeah, exactly.
you kind of did this. A lot of people are in a hurry to to kind of write a film and
Yeah.
just bring it out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And that's also because, they get the dates of an actor and that shortens the time that's available for prep.
Yeah.
So they're not able to write the script that they really want to write. Now, your Vanakkam Chennai came out in 2013?
Yeah.
Okay, then Carly took 5 years,
Yeah.
which was 2018.
Yeah.
And then now you have Paper Rocket, which
Yeah.
is again 4 years.
4
And I'm
years.
thinking the pandemic had a bit of a role to play in
Yeah.
some of the things.
Yeah.
But what is this when these gaps happen? Uh, what is it that occupies? Is it first getting an idea that says first that itself takes some time? Does that take some time, or do you have plenty of ideas but the writing takes time? What is the thing that takes the most time for you?
Actually, for me, writing is the quickest.
I
But
think
then,
we just established that right
yeah.
now. Yeah. So yeah.
Getting a producer is always the hardest for me. But what I've realized
Wait
is,
a minute.
no. I have a producer in the house who gave me a good start. But then
Okay.
after that, I've been just on my own trying to find my own producers and actors. It's just been like completely separate. Like even if somebody comes and says, you're part of Red Giant, can you do this? I said, no, I have no part with Red Giant. They just made my first film. Beyond that, I'm not any part of the production because I was trying it on my own, and that's why it took so long. But then I also realized the advantage of it taking so long helped me keep curating my stories and rewriting the
Making the script better.
and everything just worked to my advantage. So now I've realized that there's no point in rushing into anything because these ideas always get better and better when you sit and ponder and keep rewriting it. So that's what I did with Paper Rocket. In fact, Paper Rocket actually I took a very short time to write and to also make. But by then, I think all that time, the 10 years that I sat and wrote my other scripts or everything, I realized becoming better at whatever I do. So I'm trying to keep learning and everything. I think also this time that I'm taking is only working to my advantage.
Yeah. So you're saying that the time that it took for Kali to happen after 2013, 5 years, was also because you wanted to prove that you could do it on your own.
Yeah.
Why was that important? I mean, if your script is good and your direction is good and the movie's done well, wouldn't people automatically give you credit despite the fact that the release was by the family company
Okay.
or whatever it is?
No, I don't
You
think
think
so
they would
because
say,
even
"Oh."
I was having a lot of self-doubt because my first movie was released by Red Giant and they bankrolled it. So I still didn't know if I was going to make it in the film industry or
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Or I just got lucky because Uday produced my first movie. So although I had a good response from Vanakkam Chennai, I was always in the self-doubt. So, and I realized that if I push my script with another producer and they come willingly to make the film, I'll know where I stand.
Right.
If I'm going to have it easy, then it's going to show in whatever filmmaking. I'm just going to take it easy and I'm not going to go get anywhere. That's what I figured. So that is the reason I kept like narrating. I've narrated to like so many people, like hundreds of people in the industry. I just don't give up when I'm very determined.
Are you a good narrator?
I am getting better. When I started out, I wasn't. I used to have all the jitters. So when you actually talk to assistant directors, a lot of people sit with good scripts, but they don't know the way forward because they get really scared when it comes to narration. So I also went through that, and I think now I've kind of become a pro.
You're a pro,
because
like-
I've narrated in so many places.
and you narrated what with music and all. இந்த இடத்துல ஹீரோ வருவாரு that kind of thing.
அவ்வளோலாம் இல்லை நான் கதை ஒண்டி தான் நான் சொல்லிட்டு வரேன் ஐ டோன்ட் லைக் do a presentation and show pictures and அதெல்லாம் இல்லை நேராக போய் கதையை சொல்லிட்டு வந்துடுறேன்.
Okay. When you narrate, they're getting an idea of how you see the film, right?
Yeah.
Do you also give them the bound script so that they can read it, or do?
Yeah. So
But do people do that though?
some people do. So that is where we know that the actor is
Committed.
Yeah, committed, and he's going to be professional. And those are the people I want to work with also because they do half our job.
Right.
Paper Rocket, almost everyone read the script, and we had table reading, and they came back and told what they thought, or they'll have asked doubts. I get very happy when they ask doubts.
So because that helps clarify some things for yourself.
So when we went for shooting, we were all on the same page. We all knew what we were, each guy, because there are 6 characters. So sometimes going outdoor shooting, the first day when I had this combination, I went blank. because 6 of them are talking at the same time. I'm like, where do I keep the shot? What do I do? Although I went prepared, I just went blank because actually for the first time I'm dealing with such a big, star cast coming together. So that was just the first day. Then everyone got into that sync on the first day, and then from there on it was damn easy too.
It was easy.
Yeah.
Are you also somebody that wants to keep crossing genres? Because rom-com, Vanakkam Chennai, a kind of a thriller search movie, Kali, and now you have a road trip, coming of age, human relationships, this Paper Rocket.
Yeah.
Your next one is going to be a horror movie or something like that.
No, horror movie is definitely in the cards. I'm very, I'm definitely looking at making a horror movie sometime in the near future. But I don't think I should make it anytime now because I think people are, after Paper Rocket, this is what everyone's expecting. So if I make a horror movie tomorrow, they're going to just be very disappointed. But at some point, I want to do because when I was young, I used to have a lot of these paranormal experiences as a kid. So all that to put together, I want to make a horror film.
That's really interesting. I mean, can you, if you don't mind, can you just mention one of them?
So, no, I've had lots. Like, I have this problem called sleep paralysis. So when I was a kid, when I see horror movies, I realize that either the director also knows what I've gone through, and that's why he's making a scene which I can relate to. So they're all like, this old hag syndrome that people talk about, it's actually a problem that people with sleep paralysis have.
Okay.
So this whole witch or the ghost or everything kind of comes from our dreams or some subconscious experience. So everything seems to be connected. So when I see horror movies, I can totally connect to it. I'm like, hey, I've had this happen to me or that happened to me. So at some point, I want to make a film.
Okay. Does your husband know about this?
Yeah, he knows actually. Sometimes I'll warn him. I'm like, I might make some weird sounds, so you wake me up at that time. So he's used to it. He's used to me having some really weird dreams and doing weird things in the night.
Oh God, this is like some...
It's scary. It's scary. In fact, when we went on a trip, my girlfriends and I went on a trip. So one friend, suddenly I have these dreams. Okay, like it's like a nightmare. So one friend slept with me, and I had this nightmare. So I suddenly I can really be loud and I can scream. So she got up and she freaked out. The next time when we went to another place, she refused to sleep with me. She said, I'm not sharing room with Kiru. Somebody please take me. So yeah, that's how it can be scary sleeping with me.
Right. So this is a horror movie that I'm really going to be looking forward to because it's coming from some deeply personal space.
Yeah.
But what is your next film?
Film is actually...
I mean, rather, if you don't want to say, what is the genre?
No, genre is again going to be this very mature rom-com. But again, same, it's going to be a drama.
When you say mature, how mature?
Um,
People in their 50s, 60s, 70s?
No, not that mature. Somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
Like middle-aged mature.
And that's going to be a feature?
Yeah, it is going to be a feature, but whether it's going to be a theatrical or an OTT release, all that is always now left to the final decision. Yeah.
Right. But do you get a say in that decision?
I think that's mostly the producer's call because they pump in the money, they have to decide. I always next film, I want it to be a theatrical because, of course, both are two different experiences.
Right.
So I'm just hoping it's going to end up as a theatrical.
What is the difference between writing for a Vanakkam Chennai or a Kali versus writing a Paper Rocket?
The writing, of course, it falls in a different format. In fact, Paper Rocket, when I was trying to write it as a feature film, it just didn't work out for me. So I actually put it aside because I thought I won't be able to make this as a film.
And why?
No, it just, I think there are some things that are only meant to be web series, and I think that's why web series actually came, into existence. Because a lot of stories, even if you take, this Mindhunter or Game of Thrones or House of Cards.
Which I'm watching right now.
Which one?
Game of Thrones.
Oh, you're so late. Or you're watching for the second time?
No. So, Mindhunter is one of my all-time favorite series.
Mine too.
And I'm crushed that there's not going to be a season 3.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was in serious depression for two days, when David Fincher said he's not going to do a third season. But Game of Thrones, what happened recently is that, it's not my interview, but I'm just telling you since you asked. It's I was recently COVIDed for the, 75th time or something like that.
Okay.
So I was lying at home, like nothing to do. So I said, okay, finally, you know what? let's just cash this damn thing and see if it's really worth all the hype.
Oh.
And it's like, so I said, okay, let's binge
You
watch
binge
like
watched.
one season and see if I can get on board, because everybody's so like passionate about the characters and everybody's talking about some red wedding and this and that and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, you know what, is it really worth it? But after season 1, I was like
Hooked, yeah.
totally hooked. I
Even
was
season 1, you'll have your doubts. And
Yeah.
then after that, there's like no
So now I'm like
stopping.
waiting to finish this interview and rush back and
Oh,
see maybe a couple
God.
of episodes.
We should finish fast.
No. I'm just kidding. But yeah, you were talking about those series.
Yeah, so I think web series came into existence only because there are some stories that need to be like the characters need to be set up, be given that time, and then you need to tell the story like True Detective. All of these, if they were made into films, they won't be as successful as being made into web series.
Right.
So I think when you select the story or when you choose to tell a story, the story itself will tell you whether it has to be in a web series format or a film format. So that's what Paper Rocket did to me. If I'd done this as a film, it wouldn't have been received as much as it being a web series.
Hypothetical question. Supposing you have the same road journey theme, you have the same coming of age human drama theme, but instead of 5 or 6 characters or 10 or whatever it is, you have maybe 3. Would that work as a film?
It all depends on what story exactly you're trying to say. It could work as a film, but it could work as a web series based on what I have an idea for a web series where only 2 people are going to be traveling.
Okay.
But that's going to that can be work both ways. I can actually choose. There might be stories which are in between. You can decide which one you want to.
And so, at what point did you say, okay, this is a web series?
So when all the OTT started like flooding Prime and Netflix and Z5 and Hotstar, and people started asking, do you have web series content? I'm like, okay, web series content, is it? I'm not sure. I don't know what a web series content is. Let me go check. And then when I went and revisited Paper Rocket, I realized, oh my God, this is what it didn't strike, that this is exactly a web series content, and that's why I couldn't write it as a feature film. So I went and pitched it to another OTT platform. So they really liked it, but there was a lot of delay in taking it up and giving me the green signal. So I again put it aside and I was working on my other film. I was pursuing that persistently because that's what I wanted to make. And then when Z5 and Sagar Rise East came and said, do you have a web series? I said, yes, I have one web series content, and when I told. And from there on, it just kind of, it's like the Paper Rocket, it just started like flying in some direction, and I just rode along with it.
Given that your husband's a producer, and given that you're a director, and given that he's an actor, do you guys keep your professional life separate, or do you consult a lot on things? Because it might be a little odd if he comes and says, you know what, this script really sucks, or if you went and said, you know what, this performance really sucks, do you guys keep it separate or?
No. Of course not. It's very difficult, especially when we are both in the same industry. We cannot keep it separate. So we both are good to each other and bad to each other. Sometimes we can really criticize each other a lot. Sometimes we also encourage each other. So it works both ways.
Okay. So it kind of, you consult.
Yeah, it comes together. At some point, I'll tell him, do you really want to make this script? I'm not for it. And then he still goes ahead and makes it. And then if it doesn't do well, I get some pleasure in saying, I told you so.
Do you think he has a good instinct in like picking stuff?
Sometimes it works, but sometimes, again, in our industry, it's again, if it's big names and like you said, if there's not enough time, but a producer approaches a director who's given a previous hit film and he says, you know what, start your work now and I want the release in 6 months' time, but there's no script in hand. I think that's when things can go, down south, because you need that time. You should not be pressurized by producers and the remuneration and all that. Then the creative part takes a hit. So that's where I always feel like people who set out to do films in the beginning, they've done like wow films, but now why there is some sort of a struggle is because of the pressure of you just you write a story and you release it. So I think the blame lies on the producer as much as the creator, who they're all just very this date driven and this I want to make quick buck but then the creativity suffers there.
In Hollywood, for instance, but I know it's not technically, you cannot compare industries because the cultural circumstances are different. All these things are
Yeah.
different. So it's not a but just I'm curious. They take their own sweet time to write the script because they want to get that right. So they take maybe a year, maybe 2 years to write a script, right? Then they take about a year for pre-production. Then they take about, the shoot is actually the shortest period of
Yeah.
the thing.
Yeah.
Then they take a year, like 6 months to make the music, or like to make the post production. Here people are like when you want to interview a music director, for instance, the week of the release, 2 days before the film's release, you're saying, yeah, no, he's still working on the score.
Yeah.
You want to interview the editor, and they say 2 days before, no, some last minute edits are happening. Why does this happen here?
Because that's why we're doing too many projects, and but there's very little talent. As in, like in numbers, I mean, like there are only this many heroes, and there are only this many music directors. You see, I personally think music is the most creative form, and there are only so much a person can compose. Like there, like you say in Hollywood, or there are all these independent bands. They come out with one album every 2 years or 3 years. Here, one music director comes out with like 10 films, 15 films. So there's just too much pressure. Like I really don't know whom to blame, but the quality of it comes down. Like sometimes in an album, only one song is nice, but the other songs you can't listen to it because of pure pressure to deliver it at one particular time. So there's only a creative, journey requires so much time. But then when you don't give it that time, you are going to fail, or you're not going to deliver your best. So, but having said that, I have the advantage of not really working for, as my career has to be set. I have a family to run. I have children to take care. So all that at some point, I have it. Uday does that, so I can do it at my own, pace. But for other directors or upcoming directors, that's not the case. This is their life. This is their career. So they need to work and get going. I see a lot of people with scripts for years. They have been waiting to deliver it, and sometimes it's really difficult.
Yeah. It's difficult because people don't even want to consider new directors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, unless they have some backing of somebody coming.
Correct. There are only two ways you can make a film. Like either you have to have a backing of some sort, or you have to, while you're working on a set, you have to impress an actor. So that, like when you're an assistant director or associate director, you impress an actor, and then the actor gets this confidence in you, and he gives you the next script. So these two things that happen to a director. But now again, like I said, you can showcase your talent on YouTube. So again, that's also, the doors are opening for new talent.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that way. Like even music is, now we are having this independent music happening. We are having a lot of people put out their stuff on YouTube, and you can see it, and you can actually hire them. And then OTT is actually a big boon for us because more creativity is out there. You can pick and choose. So I think we are in a very healthy place right now.
So we're in a healthy place right now. So you're saying that, cinema will coexist with all these millions of other forms of entertainment, which includes Insta Reels,
Yeah,
everything.
for sure. Because before COVID, people they were speculating whether theaters are all going to shut down, OTT is going to take over. There's no room for theater anymore. But this year, we have seen phenomenal success with all the theater releases, movie releases in theaters. Theaters are getting full. People are making
No, but only
money.
with 2 or 3 films.
Regent itself celebrated 7 movie
Oh, really?
success
Okay,
meet right
okay,
now.
okay.
Like all Vikram and FIR and
Oh yeah, that's
all the smaller films also did quite well.
Yeah. But the
So,
Telugu film industry, for instance, right now seems to be, because they're
yeah.
shutting down production because they want to relook at how, because they're saying that the production costs are too high.
Yeah.
So we've got to figure out a way to kind of, balance
Correct.
everything, because audiences are just not coming to theaters, and that's a huge industry.
Correct,
Where
yeah.
people just love films there. They watch everything, and that kind of makes you think about whether people are being really selective about what they watch.
True, actually, the responsibility lies with everyone, not just the producers. Here, we think the producers just pay us, we do the job and we exit. But even in Hindi, it's very healthy because the director or the actor, they all take responsibility for it. Some of them, don't take the complete salary, they wait for the box office, then they divide the profits. I think that's a very healthy way to make a film, because then everyone, comes on board and have the responsibility.
But I think somebody told me once that the reason it doesn't happen here is because like people are scared of that if the movie does not do well, then they will not get the money. So they want the money in advance so that that kind of a thing. So I don't know.
I mean, I think that's where we are stalling, or we are left behind, or we are not able to, do better.
Okay. So finally, I want you to tell me 5 films that have made a huge impact on you. I'm sure there are many, many, many.
Yeah.
But just for the sake of, 5 could be 6, 7, whatever. But and why?
I like Pride and Prejudice book and the film. That's one of my favorites.
Which version though?
I like the Keira Knightley
Version. Okay, all right,
version. All of Balachandar sir's films, all of Mani Ratnam's, I saw Mani Ratnam sir's films and only grew up. So somewhere I think he only showed, this took us out of Chennai and showed us these beautiful locations. So he'll take us to Himalayas, and he'll take us to some lovely, even down south, just shows it so beautifully. So I just liked his whole filmmaking method. I think in Paper Rocket also, I think
because
subconsciously I've tried to do that. So we've traveled to Tamarabarni, and we've traveled to Kanyakumari. The first time I actually went and I shot. So it was a beautiful experience. So yeah, of course, Balachandra sir and Mani Ratnam sir.
Let me ask you your favorite horror film.
Actually, surprisingly, I don't know. If you're into web series, you should watch this called Haunting of Hill House on Netflix. So it's the first horror web series that I saw. It has 10 episodes. It was super scary. That's where I connected a lot. I'm like, oh, that's my story that they're taking. Like all those horror scenes that's happened, like something that has happened to me when I was a kid. So yeah, that was super scary. You should watch it.
I'm very impressed that you're talking so lightly about this.
Yeah, I know. Actually, it's kind of weird. I'm for the first time I'm talking before camera. I normally don't say that because people might think I'm just bonkers, or I'm just fabricating, or stuff like that. But people who are close to me know that this has been like always something that I've had as a child. So it's kind of affected me, I can say. So
right.
And because of that, I'm a big horror movie junkie. So I'll watch all of it. I'll take my friends. I'm known to take my friends, saying, hey, some nice breezy entertainer movie, come, and I'll take them, and it'll be a horror movie. They'll all be super scared. They'll not watch the whole movie. Only watch it with their eyes closed. So I do all these pranks with my friends.
So would it be safe to say that since you've had such scares, the fate of a movie is the least scary for you? What you're doing, whether it's well received or not, or whether it's this thing. I mean, given all the other scares that you've had, this must seem very small in comparison.
Yeah, but with horror or whatever I've experienced, there's still some sort of surrealism, or whether is it a dream or was it real. So, but here this is very real for us. We just wake up to that reality.
Right.
So this is scarier for me than the horror experiences.
So thank you for talking to us, and really thank you for sharing the script of your, or rather the one line of your next movie, because that looks really interesting. Because one of the things that I think has been happening a lot is that whenever people want to tell a love story, it's always with young, like as in 20s kind of a love story. Maybe the exceptions have been within movie love stories, like the one between Kamal Haasan and Jyotika in Vettiyadu Vilayadu.
Yeah.
But that's not the real movie. That the movie is actually a cop movie,
about
but within that there is a mature love story, like you said.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I've actually seen a feature that's a mature love story.
Actually, no, I don't think so. And this has been with me for quite some time, and it's very exciting in a lot of ways, because I think I'm also trying to break the shackles that women are in at the moment. So it's quite progressive, I would say. So when you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.